Within 50 miles of Brisbane lies Australia's Gold Coast. To it come holidaymakers from all over the land. Principal centres are Coolangatta and the rapidly expanding Surfers Paradise. Naturally, the fishing enthusiast is well catered for, and there's full-time amusement for the young and not so young on these sweeping stretches of golden sand. Surfing is safe, as lifesavers have patrols on every mile of beach. The permanent population of the coast is 21,000, which at the height of the season rises to 110,000. A popular paradise indeed.
Dangerous rescue of a humpback whale off the Gold Coast yesterday has sparked a new push to remove shark
The state's
nets
beaches have nets, and in 56 years they've recorded
Over the border,
just
the New
one
South Wales
fatal
government
attack.
is using drones, electromagnetic deterrents and smart drum lines to protect swimmers and marine life. The Queensland government, though, is yet to be convinced.
Whale rescue this season, and
Don't
almost
just catch sharks. Yesterday it was a young humpback off Burleigh, exhausted, distressed.
It's very heartbreaking to see the whale like that.
My name is Holly Richmond. I'm a marine biologist and passionate conservationist.
I have spent majority of my life being connected to the sea. It is my home. It's a space where my heart and soul combines. The only place where I feel completely free.
I have worked with a variety of animals, great and small. These animals are so full of life and light. They are so fragile and unique. Everything about them is simply beautiful. I have always felt a connection to animals, and this is what motivates me. 2 years ago, I would have never thought I would have seen the things I've seen today. I never knew the truth about shark nets. I wanted to know more, and the only way I was able to answer all of my questions was to go out there myself. I believe everyone has a battle to fight, and this is mine.
I'm Jonathan Clark. I coordinate the Queensland part of the Apex Harmony campaign, which is Sea Shepherd's Shark Campaign. We're really interested in the Queensland Shark Control Program and shedding a light on what goes on with the shark nets and drumlines of that program. From my memory, it was the Miami net back in August last year. I invited Holly to come out with us just to get us joined together and showing what we're doing. It was a great opportunity, and we came across a juvenile scallop tamhead, and it had been there for some days. We spent quite a bit of time working together to get this film, and we've both released images and film about this, telling the story from our perspective and why we need to get rid of these shark nets. They're out there just indiscriminately killing animals for no good reason. They're not making anything safer.
An endangered animal just left there to rot in the net, hidden under the surface, only 500 meters off the beach. She was so small and harmless, a complete waste of an animal. This was the beginning. I couldn't forget this moment. How many more innocent animals are dying?
In November 2017, we took the initiative to go out and check the nets for the first time. And soon enough, we actually found 2 loggerhead sea turtles that were entangled in the net.
They were just completely wrapped around those front fins and around their neck. There was one moment where I looked at the turtle. It was like it was screaming and it was completely silent, but to see one so stressed, that really broke my heart.
They're stuck in the net. They want to free themselves. They don't know why they're stuck. So there's a lot of damage that's caused as well. And that can lead to infection. So even the animals that are released, we have to expect that there's a significant degree of latent mortality. So when animals are reported as being released alive, there's no statistical analysis on how many of those will survive long term.
I'm the Director of Marine Sciences at SeaWorld. I've been here for 45 years, and in that time I've been associated with the SharkNet program both here and on the Sunshine Coast. So we have quite a lot of experience in relation to animals that are getting entrapped and need assistance to get out. I think probably the main animal we see is turtles, and we've got a lot of endangered turtles. We've got loggerhead turtles, we lose them on a regular basis. We've got green turtles, we've got hawksbill turtles. We've rescued dugong, we've rescued a variety of whales. We've seen toothed whales in the nets, we've seen Brewster's whales in the nets, minke whales in the nets, as well as the humpback whales. So there's been many, many different species of whales that migrate along our Queensland coastline that have got caught. But you know, there's a lot of other things. There's fish, there's sharks, there's rays. We've lost a lot of grain earth sharks in Queensland and in New South Wales due to shark nets. And grain earth sharks are critically endangered. You know, there's probably fewer than 1,500 remaining on the east coast.
I never really understood shark nets. I guess the knowledge that I had is the same that everybody else has, that it's just a net out there in the ocean that is supposed to keep us safe. But after seeing the turtles in this net, I couldn't help but feel motivated, and I could feel the fire in me that I wanted to know more about it. I started to look further into shark nets and what are they and what are they there for, and what is the overall aim of these shark nets, because seeing these animals in there, I couldn't understand how this was helping keep anybody safe at the beach.
What do you know about the shark nets?
Well, I think it's to stop the bigger sharks trying to come in here, maybe.
Knowing they're out there makes you feel a bit better.
Shark net, I don't know. I don't know about it.
I know they're installed somewhere, and I know that they're not very high.
I know we have them all along the Gold Coast here. I'm not really sure how long it goes for though.
It's supposed to stop the sharks from coming into the beach and interacting with humans.
I think it's for more of a wall than to catch the sharks.
When sharks sleep, they sort of swim pretty close to the surface, so they get sort of not tangled in the net, but sort of get deterred by them.
Prior to the 1960s, frequent shark incidents occurred along the beaches of Queensland. Now this prompted the government to design a shark control program. The program aims to capture and kill passing sharks at popular beaches to reduce the likelihood of a negative human-shark encounter. The program includes the use of shark nets and drumlines. Shark nets and drumlines were first installed in 1962 on the Gold Coast, Sunshine Coast and in Cairns. The program soon spread all along the Queensland coastline. The Queensland Shark Control Program currently has 383 drumlines and 27 nets across 85 popular beaches. On the Gold Coast, we have 11 shark nets and 35 drumlines that run from Main Beach down to Rainbow Bay. Shark nets are 186 metres long and are approximately 4 metres deep. They have a mesh size of 50 centimetres. The gill net is positioned in about 8 to 10 metres of water, often parallel to the beach. A drumline is a baited hook suspended down 4 to 6 metres from a buoy, baited with 1 to 2 kilograms of shark flesh or mullet. There is 32 kilometres of coastline and combined 2 kilometres of nets, and the nets go halfway to the bottom. A shark has a 96% chance of making it to the beach without encountering any of the shark nets. The aim of the nets is to eventually capture and kill the shark.
The program that we have now is very much the same as what it was in 1962 when it was first put in. The nets are not a barrier. They don't provide a protection as such that people think happens.
There's a lot of misunderstanding around nets and how they work. There's a big difference between exclusion nets and beach mesh nets. So beach mesh nets are what's involved in the Queensland Shark Control Program. These are very finite distance. They don't reach to the bottom as well, so sharks can swim around them on either side or under them. The nets, I think, are probably one of the most antiquated technologies that we have. They came into Queensland in the 60s, and since then they've been responsible for the death of thousands of animals.
Over the past 18 years, the total bycatch of dolphins, whales, turtles and ray species caught in the shark control program on the Gold Coast were calculated. If we were to remove the 11 shark nets, bycatch numbers would significantly decrease. The remaining figures are the animals caught on drumlines.
There's no technical baiting here, so sharks have to be in the environment and they have to basically swim into these nets for them to work. What we see is about 40% of sharks are caught on the beach side of the nets, so they've already been in close contact with people and then are coming back out. So they're not providing full protection.
It is a really big challenge for us to help people understand what's going on off the beaches of Queensland. The shark control program is largely hidden. Once you understand what's going on there, once you see that and develop an understanding of what those devices are, those devices that to most people are really just a buoy or a series of buoys off the beach that are meant to make us safer. Well, when you get into it and understand what's going on there, you realise, one, they don't make us any more safe, and two, they're highly destructive to marine environments.
There is no evidence that around this country shark nets and drum lines make you safe. Nearly half the incidents involving sharks in this country occur on the inside of nets.
My shark bite happened in March 20th, 2012. I was surfing at the front here in Nobby's Beach, Gold Coast. There's lots of birds flying and fish jumping. There's a typical, a sketchy day, as you'd probably say. And towards the end of our session, I caught a wave in and I fell off on the wave in the shore break. As I was doing that motion, I felt my leg just get a bite or get gripped and shaken for half a second and let go. I looked back and I put my leg up and I saw the perfect arc on my calf. And that's the second I got the pins and needles, and I suddenly went into survival mode because there was a perfect bite shape on my calf. I didn't know the length and the depth of how deep they went, and I thought it was one continuous net along the whole of Gold Coast. I didn't know that there were individual nets separated. Yeah, there's a lot of things I didn't know when I got bit. After doing some research and knowing how easily sharks or any marine life can get around the nets, it definitely doesn't make me feel safe them being there.
So shark bites happen very infrequently. Globally, there's about 80 or 90 a year at the moment. In Australia, we tend to have about 10 to 20 per year, and generally 1 to 2 fatalities. So it sounds like a lot, and 1 to 2 fatalities is more than what we'd like to see, but in the grand scheme of things, it's a really, really small number of incidents happening. They're extremely highly reported, and we talk about them all the time, so it seems like they happen more than what they do, but it is a very rare event. There was a study that showed that one single newspaper would report on one single shark bite fatality instance an average of 45 times and up to about 75 times. So that's a huge number of times that we hear about a single incident. And the human brain comprehends that as repeated incidents. So we think that these things are happening 75 times per single source that we look at, when in reality it's just one single incident. So it keeps these things at the forefront of our mind. It makes it seem like they are happening all the time, and we're always thinking about it, when, again, coming back to the reality, they are very rare events.
So the media being there before the ambulance was, at the time I didn't really have any thought towards it because I was in my own, try not to panic and pass out. But yeah, it's crazy to believe that they have the resources to get there before the ambulance. Being in my face was, at the time, also I wasn't too fussed about, but going back on it now and looking in hindsight, it's probably not the most professional thing to do, especially when health is at risk there.
But what happens, the media get in there and they think it's wonderful and it's fantastic, and they do promote it. But what they also do, they get the public side of it because they want to understand that. So they go down the beach and there's mum and dad with two little children walking down the beach, and they ask the question, do you think shark nets should be removed? And the people don't understand it. So they say, no, no, no. So you've got a 10-second grab that the rest of the community fall in on, which is not really an educated view. And it's actually not correct because they don't understand there's no barrier out there. If they were to give them that information and then ask the question, they'd probably get a different answer. So the media play a role, and we've just got to educate the public on what the program is.
Basically, we were getting up at 4 o'clock in the morning before the sunrise, and we were going out there to check all of the shark nets on the Gold Coast. We really wanted to document what was happening because there's surely more information that we can gather from these animals when seeing them in the flesh. The worst part for me is finding an animal that is still alive. Usually you would think it would be the dead ones, but it's actually the ones that you physically can see suffering and fighting for their life. That's the hardest part.
And these animals feel pain. They're just like you and I. So you've got animals that are very old. You can have dolphins that might be 40 or 50 years old. You can have turtles that might be 40. So they've gone out there, they've lived this wonderful life, and now we put these nets in the water and now they're trapped and they're going to have a very agonising death.
Having to drive away was the worst part. That's when it starts to fold in on you of this feeling of guilt and responsibility. It makes you feel like I am responsible for humans and for doing this to our marine life, and it feels like the weight of the ocean on your shoulders when you feel like that. Knowing that there's nothing that you can do except record it and hope that they will be an ambassador for their species and counter species when we show people this footage. We were at Surface Paradise Net, and there was this giant shovel-nosed ray that had been entangled at the very, very bottom of the net. And we saw it and we were looking at the water. It was dark and it was murky, and we eventually grew the strength to jump in and get ready to film it. I dove down to film the animal, and then as I looked back up, I noticed a huge bite mark out of this animal, and that was the scariest moment.
As soon as something is caught, then people can argue that they are baited. So there's technically bait in the water that could potentially draw other sharks in. So you have to really think about how these are working and the logistics of them.
Usually when we'd find a shark in the net, there'd be something near its head. It's gone into the net to retrieve it. Stingrays we sometimes find sharks with a stingray in its mouth. It's trapped in the net.
Not only had this animal been in there as bycatch, it secondly attracted something bigger close to shore. So these nets are 500 metres off the beach. You have an animal that is entangled, therefore the nets are baited and luring bigger predators to feed on this animal. There was no shark in the shark net, not in any of the 11 shark nets on the Gold Coast. It was the beginning of July, and we had been checking these nets for just over a year now, and it just felt like any other day. We were going out, we had all our gear ready to just document anything that we were going to find in the nets. But this day changed my life forever.
The dangerous rescue of a humpback whale off the Gold Coast yesterday has sparked a new push to remove shark nets from our beaches. Conservationists argue drones and repellents can keep swimmers safe, but the state government says it won't take that risk.
They've been lining Queensland beaches since the 60s, but shark nets don't just catch sharks. Yesterday it was a young humpback off Burleigh, exhausted, distressed and close to drowning.
It's very heartbreaking to see the whale like that.
It was the 4th whale rescue this season and almost certainly not the last.
We saw the whale just on the surface of the water, and it had buoys and rope wrapped around it. We jumped in and I couldn't believe my eyes. Taking in the overwhelming feeling of this animal being entangled and stressed is something that I'll never forget.
I can't even believe this.
First rescue out of a shark net was a humpback whale back in 1974. And in 1974, we didn't have that many humpback whales. You know, they were very, very infrequent. You know, I've seen a baby whale being right beside a baby humpback caught that drowned itself. That was very emotional. I think probably the most memorable moment for me was at Currumbin. We had a baby whale caught in the very end of the Currumbin net, and the mother was very vocal and very active. This is back in the days we would dive to free these animals. I was right beside the calf trying to cut the net away. The mum was right beside me. I mean, right beside me. She was watching everything because it was at the end of the net, so she had free swimming ability. But she would then leave, and then she would go around, and then she'd come back and she'd just watch me. And the chatter, and I'll use the word chatter, between the calf and mum was quite incredible and very, very intense and very loud. That was an emotional moment for me because you could really see that strong bond, that maternal bond between mother and calf.
If we look at the last 58 years, where we actually have reported 70 whales that are being caught here in the Gold Coast shark nets, so that's just the Gold Coast alone, and 7 of these whales have been killed.
So we think quite frequently that the shark nets are being broken by humpback whales that are swimming through them. And often when that happens, there'll be bits of shark net missing. And we know that every interaction that those animals have with a shark net will result in an animal that's been stressed, that's used up a whole lot of energy that comes out of its limited budget of energy that it has to get back to the Southern Ocean where it feeds. So that impact is very, very direct.
We have some amazing technology out there already, and technology that is still being developed to assist in shark mitigation. There's personal deterrent measures that we can personally take, or there's drone surveillance and helicopter surveillance to help keep our beaches safe. We should be investing more time and money and support into these technologies to further them and to make sure that we are using them to help with beach safety.
Without doubt, these are the products of the future. There's an opportunity here to remove shark nets and drum lines as time goes by using technology, and that's what we're aiming to do.
I think that we've got such a better understanding now in 2018 to what we had in 1962, that there's new technologies. We are more concerned about welfare. In 1962, people weren't thinking about the welfare of these animals that are in these nets for long periods of a time, still alive. So I think that we're more aware of welfare. I think that we're so much better technology. We've got high-rise now, we've got drones, we've got smart technology in relation to drum lines. So the nets themselves, to me, should be removed.
My favourite childhood story begins as an old man walks along the beach after a storm had passed. The beach was covered in starfish that had washed ashore. From a distance, the man spotted a little boy. The boy seemed to be picking up something and throwing it back into the sea. The little boy did this over and over again. The old man asked what the boy was doing. The boy simply replied that he was throwing the starfish back into the ocean. If he were to leave them on the beach, they would die. The old man said, "There are thousands of starfish on the beach. You won't make much difference." The boy picked up another starfish and threw it back into the sea, smiling, and turned to the old man and said, "I made a difference to that one." I would like to live in a world where people will no longer act out of fear. A world where humans and sharks can coexist. A world where we take personal responsibility. We need sharks for a healthy ocean, and culling sharks isn't the answer. In the future, I believe that we are going to look back at this program and be ashamed that we let it go so far. We are wiping out our ecosystem out there. On the Gold Coast, we have such a diversity. Every day, we are taking out those numbers due to fear.
There is no scientific evidence to support that shark nets keep people safe. But we do know that they are adding to the destruction of our oceans.
Every person can make a difference, and we can all start today. The first step is education. Understand the program yourself. The second step is to educate the people around you. Share this video with friends and family. Make it a conversation. The third step is to develop an educated opinion and use this to vote and support any positive change to the program. Together, our ripples will become waves, and our waves will change tides.